Hey there, it's Jess. If you're new here, I'm a certified professional canine nutritionist, raw nutrition certified for dogs and cats, a holistic pet health coach, the founder of Wild Wellness Pet, and the host of the Pet Parenting Reset podcast that you're listening to right now, where every pet deserves the absolute best, and every pet parent is welcome. Learn from the best holistic and integrative experts in veterinary medicine and nutrition every Tuesday right here on this podcast. Or get individualized help with your pet through one-on-one consultations and take a deep dive into the root cause with the Wild Wellness Bioenergetics at-home testing kit. It's time to rethink how we raise our pets, a reset to naturally healthy dogs and cats. If you've been feeling like there has to be something more, something better, a better way to raise healthier pets, welcome to the Pet Parenting Reset. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're new here, my name is Jessica. This is the Pet Parenting Reset, and today's guest is Jackie Jolie with AnimaSol, and this is a totally new topic for the podcast, so I'm super, super stoked to learn right alongside with you. I got an email the other day that said our animals are light deprived, and I'm like, yes. I think so. Like we're light deprived, we're clean air deprived, we're healthy soil deprived. Like we're deprived of a lot. But I think light is something that we really haven't started talking about yet. So Jackie, thank you so much for being here, and I would love to just learn a little bit about like how you got into this field and then start learning a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Of course, it's a pleasure and my honor. I light up literally when I talk about pets and light. Hopefully, everybody will be able to see and feel that on this episode. So my story, like most readers, loved animals my whole life. I wanted to be a vet as a kid. Life turns into other ways the way it's supposed to eventually. And so I did not become a vet, but for the last almost 20 years, I've been a body worker for horses and dogs. So physical therapist, massage, cranial sacral, myofascial work. Mainly working with performance animals, which is just really rewarding because you get to see them compete and you get a lot of feedback. You're trying to maintain that level of performance, whether it's with rehab, injury, etc. When I went to school for this and did some internships and just even in my practice, I knew about lasers as far as my education on red light therapy. And that's really all that was available for a very long time was lasers. They work. I used them on a broken arm. I've used them in practice before. I didn't have the funds with my type of a career to have a laser in my practice, but did know about them, knew how to work them. I didn't really learn light on the bigger macro topic, like you were just mentioning about us being indoors more, until I got sick myself. So I got Lyme disease 6 years ago from a tick bite. And because of the job I did, I already leaned more towards like holistic healing, naturopathic healing. The allopathic system wants to give you 3 months of antibiotics when you have Lyme disease. And I was like, ugh, I don't think so. So I left that as like plan B. I found a whole herbal tincture system from Dr. Buhner to do, and I actually did like kill and heal from the Lyme disease through the herbal tinctures. I'd never had to take the antibiotics, which was great. But I was left with a ton of symptoms left over. Now that I know what I know, the Lyme really just like destroyed my mitochondria in my cell. I didn't know that at the time. But I just couldn't recover back into workouts. My hormones and cortisol and all that was just like on the floor. And again, my allopathic system wanted to give me replacement hormones for the rest of my life. I was 36, like thought I was healthy, and that just didn't sound like a good path either. And so luckily I had a friend that turned me on to a topic called quantum biology. And if we open that can of worms right now, we would be here for 8 more hours. And I'm happy to come back on and talk about it at another time. However, quantum biology works off of 3 pillars: light, water, and magnetism. And light is actually the foundation of those pillars because it influences all 3 of them. And light truly is the foundation of our health. So when I started learning about it, I made myself the guinea pig. And basically, for sake of time, I did some light lifestyle changes. And my health, hormones, libido, brain fog, energy, recovery, all of that came back to normal within 6 months and then continued to just optimize from there, where I'm 42 this year. My brain works like a Ferrari. My body works like a Ferrari. I recover. I think of things faster. I can retain information faster than I even could in my 20s. And it all had to do with changing my light life. So I got certified in quantum biology. I started teaching it to humans, trying to help family members. And then literally I just got like the invention of the red light therapy blanket downloaded to my brain from God, sitting on the beach one day getting light. It's the only way I know how to tell that story. And so that was about 5 years ago. I started doing, research and development, manufacturing, LLC, patent process, all that good stuff. It's been about a 5-year journey. We launched in August of 2024. And the response has been amazing. The healing cases that we've had has been amazing. And we can definitely get into some of those examples when we get further into the conversation. But that's kind of my story in a nutshell of where I've ended up. And I really do have the goal of, even though I produced a product that's going to bring healing to, injuries, illnesses, it's going to bring that supplementation of light, which we'll talk about. But my larger mission truly is to bring the idea of quantum biology and light environments and our pets to the animal industry because nobody's talking about it. You're absolutely right that we are surrounded by toxins in our water, in our food, in our homes, outside in the air sometimes, right? But truly, when we think about health, we usually look at food, exercise, and sleep. And those things are certainly important. I am not knocking them. But light is the elephant in the room that nobody's addressing because in our modern life, we've just taken it for granted. And it's the biggest affector of our health. And it actually makes diet, exercise, and sleep so much easier and healthier if you have your light life right.
So I have to be honest, like I know, to get for humans at least, like to get your circadian rhythm right, you need the morning sunlight. It's also great to get that like sunset so that your body's like, okay, it's time to chill. We're going to sleep soon. You shouldn't eat unless it's light outside. Like I know these things. And then of course the beauty industry for women, which is just insane. But that, there's a lot of light therapy for like cosmetic reasons.
Yes.
But that's about the extent of what I know. And because of that, I know there's like all these, like we have so many different UVs and there's a lot going on out there. My biggest thing is well, let me back up a little. One of the things that I talk to so many people about, especially indie pet store owners who have been in the game for a decade, 2 decades, sometimes longer. It used to be 10, 15 years ago, they could just switch a dog to a raw food diet and everything was great. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes so much more than just switching the diet. And it's been difficult for a lot of people because it's like pet parents will be like, well, I switched to this diet. It didn't work. Obviously, that's not the right path to go because they're not looking at it as part of a bigger picture. So that's the thing that I think we need to talk more about is the bigger picture, and that yes, we do need this piece, but we also need this piece and this piece and that piece and that piece. And light falls into that for so many reasons. And mitochondrial health is something that I think I'm not a huge fan of biohackers. I think primarily because a lot of it is male driven and females need different things than
Yeah.
males. And as far as humans are concerned, I don't know that that's always necessarily the case with our dogs, or even our cats, or even less so our cats actually. Like we could go down a whole rabbit hole there with the
Very
spay neuter
all
syndrome in dogs.
we're very aligned. Yes.
Right. So I can totally see how having certain foundational pieces in place can make everything else work better, because I know, like, I have so many clients of my own that I'm like, we're doing X, Y, and Z and we're getting great results, but like we need that thing that's going to get us to the finish line. And it's different for every animal, but I know that light therapy is not something I've introduced yet. So I want to learn.
Well, those are all really great points. There's a lot there for sure. And you actually do know more than some other practitioners, even just using the term circadian rhythm. I'm very impressed. That is coming onto the mainstream, but not enough and not fast enough. Um, And you're definitely right as well as pointing to like, there's some pet parents that are doing everything right, right? Just like some of our human athletes, they are on the best diet. They've got the best workout. They've got the best trainer, the best recovery tools, even in the biohacking field, right? But if they don't have their light life right, they still get cancer or they still break down, right? And so we're seeing that our animals are getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages, just like our human counterparts. And we're throwing tons of money down the throat of supplements, fecal transplants. Like we have gone to that extreme, right? Not to say that they don't work, but why do we have to do that? Like, what is the root cause there of like, why do we have to go to that extreme to replace that microbiome, right? And so it truly does come down to the light connection. We are so disconnected from that light, water, and magnetism that's natural outside with nature. And so that will always be our push from a company. Yes, I made a product that I'm selling, and you could technically consider it a biohack, right? Because that's what red light therapy is, even for humans. But the biohack, I never want it to be the dependent, right? Like I am always going to preach, if you don't have the money, but you want to change your pet's life and your life, get outside. Get outside as often and frequent as you possibly can, even in the middle of the day. You need those UVA and UVB rays as well. And get your bare feet and their bare paws on the ground so they can get energy from the ground as well, from the Schumann resonance. And you will see your health just flourish. However, the modern world's not going anywhere. I can't ask two pet parents that work full-time jobs and have to leave their dog at home, or cat or bird or whatever it is that's living inside, to change that lifestyle. And there's also plenty of animals that are sick, injured, or performance animals now that need that boost now. And even back to the original conversation of, we're doing all these great diets and things just aren't really we're still on that hamster wheel. Like there's something just still missing. I always like to take people back to, let's think of like the old farm dogs, right? Labradors, for example, super popular on the farms. Let's say 15 years ago, not even that long ago. Labradors now die by 6, 7, 8 years of age, cancer tumors, brain tumors, fatty tumors, diabetes, metabolic issues. If I think about the farm dog that was on the farm 15 years ago, he lived until 15, 16, 17, 18. Even if he had some lumps and bumps, he was still running around doing just fine. And he was probably eating Olroy, right? Like some of the worst kibble you could possibly get on the market. But he lived that long with not as many issues, right? And granted, we have a lot more toxins and things like that in our environment than we did 15 years ago. I will give credit to that. But we have completely come inside. So statistics say that humans, which we are human mammals, most modern humans have forgotten that we are also mammals. So what works for us works for our pets. What works for pets works for us. And I think you have a point on even the female versus male. Like there's very different effects there with moods and cycles and hormones and things that need to be addressed as well. And so we need to start focusing on the fact that we have come inside and disconnected from all of that. And that's what's actually changing our environment, which is changing our genes. A lot of these new illnesses, they get blamed on genes. Genes load the gun and account for about 20% of our health. Your environment pulls the trigger. So epigenetics is like a very popular term now and starting to come around. So your environment actually influences so much more than you think. The good news of that is you have control over your environment. So you actually have control over that 80% of your health and your pet's health. When I say you, I'm talking about all of us animals. And I'm excited that if I can change the pet parents' light environment for the pets, guess what? It changes the light environment for the pet parents as well, and they will also get healthier. So if we want to break down kind of some of the science of actual light and then light therapy, if I take everybody back to biology school when we learned about the full spectrum, which was the sun, that's the rainbow, right? Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The rainbow sends down packets of information. They're called photons of light. And so all those different colors come down to us when the sun is out and gives instructions to our bodies. So something that we don't usually know or have learned yet is they were found in like 2014, 2015. We have melanopsins in every single cell of our body. So whether it's a skin cell, a gut cell, an eye cell, an endocrine cell, every single cell has a melanopsin, and it's a light sensor. And so it's looking for and wanting to respond to a light and a dark sensor because of circadian rhythms. Well, we're not giving that to our bodies anymore because we're not out underneath the full spectrum. And all of our lighting opportunities now in the house are very artificial and only give you a blue light spectrum by itself, which is actually very toxic and inflammatory. So your LED light bulbs, your fluorescent light bulbs, all of your tech screens, those all give you only a blue light wavelength. That's why I wear these little blue light blockers, right? And so you don't want just blue light. Our body's not used to getting just monochromatic light ever. It would have gotten the full spectrum outside. And at sunrise and sunset, like you mentioned before, you have a dominance of only wavelengths. Hey, pup. She's like, I want to be heard too. They usually do that on podcasts. I'm used to that. So at sunrise and sunset, you have a dominance of red and near infrared. Those are your most deepest absorbing and healing wavelengths. That's why they've now been turned into therapeutic devices. And you get that at sunrise and sunset. Now, you still have red and near infrared, 55% of the spectrum, even when the bright sun is out, when you have UVA and UVB. Those UV rays have been demonized since the 30s after just one study was very faultily made, and we can discuss that if you want, that UVB was bad for us. So you need UV rays to be able to make your vitamin D. You need UV rays to be able to make your sexual hormones. And you need UV rays to actually create melatonin in your body, which melatonin is what helps you rest well. Melatonin is what turns on apoptosis and autophagy through your mitochondria, and it only turns on after you've had 2 hours of darkness. Now look at our modern life. We don't have that most of the time. So these are the lessons and different things that we can definitely change in our lifestyle in regards to a light environment. And we can also add on the magnetism part, like we're not grounded to the earth. We have 5G and Wi-Fi all the time, which is also very inflammatory to our mitochondria and cellular water. That's probably a topic for a quantum biology podcast. I want us to focus on light today, but that is a part of that spectrum of our environment as well that I want to mention. So red light and near infrared light, obviously deepest absorbing, best return on investment that you could possibly get. The only product that's been around since the late 60s, early 70s were lasers, and we still have them around today. They do work. I'm not here to knock them by any means. However, they're very limited, and they've been limited to be able to show the true power of light because of its limitations. And they're very expensive, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and up. Normally a medical professional has to have them, and you have to wear protection. And so the medical professional is attached to that animal for that treatment. That becomes inconvenient time-wise for the practitioner. They also have to charge the consumer a decent amount of money for those sessions because they need to pay back the very expensive laser they invested in. You now have the budget of the pet parent that has to get to the vet, or the vet get to the horse, 3 or 4 times a week. When you're sick and you need light, you need a lot of light. So you need to be getting it 3 or 4 times a week, and that becomes inconvenient and expensive. On top of that, they're so powerful that they actually can cause damage. I've seen lasers blow through ligaments and tendons and create holes. I've seen them burn hair. And so it's a super strong device that you have to be very careful with. You can't use it on cancer cases. You can't use it on parts of the body that have had metal put into it from, a car accident or an injury or surgery. And so it's just been limited. LEDs were created, close to 30 years ago. We have them, in our flashlights and our light bulbs, and you can use them now as a therapeutic device. A lot of people, as you mentioned, you see the masks that women are wearing now for collagen production and anti-aging. There's athletes, pro athletes are using red light therapy panels for healing, recovery, performance enhancement. Red light can do all of that all day long, every day. There's over 7,000 scientific articles behind photobiomodulation, which is the scientific term of light therapy using all different colors of light. And so there's plenty of science to prove behind it. The way that we designed our products, being full body, wireless, 5 wavelengths, 2-to-1 of near infrared to red, is because I have the larger picture of, yes, red and near infrared light therapy. You can use that for healing and recovery and performance enhancement and energy production all day, every day. It'll do that all the time. We need to actually start seeing light as a supplement, because we are deficient in it. Even your 2-year-old puppy dog that has no arthritis, no sicknesses, no illnesses, because they live indoors, they are daily deficient in red and near infrared light therapy. And so if you can get your light life right, which the body responds to light the fastest, the strongest, and with LEDs, you have no risk of harm. You have no risk of overdosage. It's safe and effective for the pet parent to have at home. Get your light life right, and then see if you still need something additional to that of, like, supplements or acupuncture or chiropractic care. Or if you do have a cancer case and they're doing radiation, red light therapy is a great way to support the nausea and the decrease of energy that's going to happen with the mitochondria. Um, any questions on kind of like that's the full spectrum? Those are the wavelengths. They kind of come in with directions. They are innervating directly with the mitochondria. Like that is how light works. It's coming into the mitochondria and asking it to do its job better and faster. And mitochondria, as we also learned in biology school, it does make the ATP and energy for the cell, but it does many other things. It's there to help support the trigger for apoptosis and autophagy at night if you get nighttime darkness. It also creates heat in the form of circulation and near infrared light. And then it also hydrates your cells in the form of cellular water. So in biology school, we were also told we only had three forms of water: solid, liquid, and gas. There's actually a fourth stage of water called easy water, which stands for exclusion zone water. It's like plasma like, very jello like. All of your cells have it. And that is your bodyguard around the cell to block out viruses, toxins, bacteria, just garbage that comes into the body from our environment. You want that cellular water thick and large around the cell. And so red and near infrared light does that. It builds that easy water. So you can get that from the sun, you can get it from grounding, you can get it from a red light therapy device. And guess what zaps it? No light exposure, no natural light exposure, and 5G and Wi-Fi completely zaps that water. So think of everybody getting sicker and sicker and not being able to be exposed to viruses and bacteria and Lyme and all these things. I've had 5 other tick bites now and never come down with Lyme because my redox is so high to protect me from that.
Mm. So I do see a lot of people who are posting like they are switching out their light bulbs in their house to red light bulbs. I know there are devices like you've talked about. One of the questions that I have is, yeah, it sounds like red light is incredibly beneficial for a lot of different things. Having the full spectrum of light, like we also want that too, correct? Or
Yes. Yes, you're correct on that. Absolutely. Great question. Red and near infrared definitely are the deepest absorbing and the most healing. Even when you look at your blue, green, indigos, those only go about 5 millimeters into the tissue. So they're very surface level, but they are important in nature. It's very hard to capture UV and LEDs. It just hasn't been done well yet. You can obviously get it in bulbs, like if you think about your tanning bed, but those are only blue. So you don't want that. That is inflammatory. That's how they showed that mice got tumors back in the 30s for UVB's bad because they were only illuminating them with UVB bulbs, which were inflammatory. And mice are nocturnal and white and they respond differently than us, right?
yeah.
So, anyways, it is important. And that's why we'll still teach people you need to be getting outside and getting that full spectrum.
Mhm.
But the wavelengths that we would have been bathing in 24/7 when we used to live, breathe, build, reproduce and work outside was truly near infrared, actually. All of the plants and the living things outside absorb it and reflect it back. We absorb it and reflect it back. The sun gives it to you all day long. The moon actually reflects near infrared light. So we are very, very deficient in the near infrared, which is truly going to activate that mitochondria in the cell. But yes, you're correct that we do need the full spectrum. And I always promote people to get that with them and their pets as often as possible.
So, okay, we've got Wi-Fi, 5G, they are talking about wanting to block the sun. We have weather modification, making weird fake clouds. So
Yeah.
all of these things are keeping us like further and further disconnected from nature, which is healing. So nature is healing. Nature, like humans, dogs, cats, every living animal, like we're actually designed to live out in nature. I
Yeah.
don't want to. I'm going to be honest. Like it is just too cold most of the time. I don't want to be outside. I am so like today is the first warm day we've had in I don't know how long. I was actually in Texas for a few days and it was warm there and I'm like I came back here and it was cold and I'm like no. I hate this. I hate this so much because I love being outside. I love feeling the warmth of the sun. And um I'm just so excited for spring and summer because I want to be outside again. And I've felt it. Like, this is just a tangent I'm on right now. I have
It's
felt
okay.
it, like, being back. This is my first year back in Virginia for a very, very long time, and I have been stuck indoors all winter, and I'm feeling it
Yes.
in so many different ways. And so, okay, all of the things I listed, the 5G, the Wi-Fi, the blocking of the sun, the all of the things that we can argue if they're intentional or not. I think they're intentional. But anyway, we've got to get around it. We've got to figure something else out. I am literally, like, top of mind for me this week has been I need to redesign my living space because I do want to black everything out at night, and I don't want all of the blue light all day long, and I don't want to be like, I need the little EMF sticker thingies to put on my router or my phone or whatever. Like, this is, like, top of mind for me this week, and I'm looking at a Schumann resonance device, and I'm looking at all of these things because, and I'm like, this is overwhelming, but I'm so glad that I have the wherewithal to be like, I know I need all of these things, whether I get them naturally or I bring them in somehow into my life artificially.
Yes.
And it's not just for me, it's for my pets as well because I'm seeing their decline. Like, they're overall healthy and all, but, like, my cat is about to be 18, my dog is about to be 13, and I'm just like, I need to do better for them while I'm also doing better for myself. And so, what are your actual, like, average everyday person, like, what should we be doing to combat all of these things in our environment that are keeping us disconnected, that are keeping us sick?
Yes. Well, that'll definitely answer things a little further from just red light therapy and devices, which I'm happy to do. And this will be the education as a company. We will be starting soon. I want to start posting every day, teaching about it. I have a speaking opportunity at the Feed Real Summit in San Diego in October, and I plan to have a full presentation ready then and like PDFs to give pet parents of things they can do in the home to change, not just bringing red light therapy in for therapy, but to actually change the whole light environment. So, over all of those things, number one, nothing can ever replace nature. Like, no man-made device can ever replace the sun, ever replace the Schumann resonance, like none of it, like ever. So if you can just get outside, as like, there's two things, three things. Sunrise, sunrise, sunrise. Like, that is how important sunrise is for your health over everything else. So sunrise is where you're going to set your circadian clock. So you're going to get the most red and near infrared wavelengths you can possibly get in your body. Go outside, no sunglasses, no sunscreen, as little bit of clothing as possible for where you live at that season of the year, and get 10 to 15 minutes. If you're super sick, just so you know, if your pets or you are super sick, you need more light. You're going to have to schedule it into your life. Period. Dot dash. I had to do it for Lyme. Now I can get away with like a couple of days of missing light, right? So sunrise, sunrise, sunrise before you turn on any other light, before you look at a screen, before you eat, before you have your coffee, all of it. 10, 15 minutes, 20, 30 if you're sick, okay? Try to make that your daily new habit. I promise you, you won't have the afternoon slump. You will sleep better and you will start to feel better pretty quickly. Light works very, very fast. So that's number one. Sunrise, sunrise, sunrise. As important. Then number two, get outside as often as possible as you can and get your pets outside as often as possible as you can with bare feet and bare paws on the ground as often as possible. If you work, take a light break instead of a smoke break. People go out, every hour to smoke a cigarette. You go out every hour to get some sunlight. Take your sunglasses off, roll up your sleeves, take your shoes off if you can. Who cares if you look like the weirdo? You're getting healthier for free. It doesn't cost anything, okay? So sunrise, get outside as much as possible. And then you want to make your nights dark. So we do have circadian clocks. All mammalians have circadian clocks. Nocturnal animals obviously are slightly different, but there's not that many of those. Most of us have circadian clocks that all of our systems run off of, so where you should have 12-ish hours of daylight and 12-ish hours of darkness, depending on time of the year and where you live. That means at night, you don't need to have these bright lights on above you. Like, try to make the house dark. Our ancestors used to use fire, candles, and then when lights first came out, they were incandescent bulbs. Now, the United States have made those illegal because they're supposed to be more expensive, but a couple of cents on your electricity bill is way cheaper than cancer. You can still get them off of Amazon. I have links. I can help people with that. But try to make your nights dark. Put on red light bulbs. Red is not going to interfere with your circadian rhythms at night, okay? Darkness. Blue light blocking glasses, turn your screens red on your computer, on your phones. There's all kinds of free programs that will do that now. And then turning off your Wi-Fi. I never have my Wi-Fi on unless I'm using it. And then I'm hardwired into it as well. So when you're sleeping, you don't need your Wi-Fi on. So it's just being inflammatory to you and your pet parents. If you think it's going to be hard to remember to do it, or you have a husband that wants to complain about it, get your little Christmas timers for Christmas tree lights and put that on the outlet for your router and turn it off at 10 o'clock at night when you go to bed and let it turn back on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at least do that. But if you leave your house and your pets are just sitting at your house and your Wi-Fi is on, just turn it off. That is inflammatory to their body, and it will cause cancer and brain tumors and arthritis because it raises the calcium in the blood in the body. We have pets getting osteoarthritis at 2, 3, 4, and 5 years of age now, horses as well. It's insane. That never happened. So those are just a couple of like the quantum rules and lifestyle rules that I definitely like to give out there. They're free. They're just lifestyle changes, right? And you will see a difference. And once you get into that habit, I promise you, you'll fall in love with it. I never used to be a morning person. My non-negotiables in life now is always a morning walk with my dogs, no matter what, before I do anything in life. My nights are very dark. This whole room turns red with a red light bulb when I need to work at night. And I love nature. Like I drive to go out in nature all the time. I'm on 70 acres right now, so I don't, so I can be surrounded by nature. And even the cold exposure actually is very healthy for us. We get cold easily now because we have no thermoregulation. So in our modern world, along with our modern light bulbs, we keep our house and our car and our office at a balmy 72 degrees year round. That would have never happened outside. So like the winter here, my thermostat is at 59 all winter long. Now, I've built up to that. I couldn't do that in the beginning, but I put on wool clothes, and I comfy up with the blankets, and I have a fireplace. I get the fire going. That cold exposure connects with your mitochondria as well. And when your body can comfortably thermoregulate, you don't have to do all the cold plunges and all the crazy extremes. Just regular cold exposure on a daily basis in the winter will keep you healthy. Same with your pets. They need the same thing. Horses with big fur coats don't need blankets. They are just fine. Dogs with big fur coats don't need blankets. They are just fine. They were built for it. So we have to kind of get back to like what it was before in nature, before humans kind of got involved, and before we got a little weaker, honestly, by our indoor lifestyle. And you'll just do better. You'll thrive.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about a lot of the downside of lasers, even though they're amazing, they can do really wonderful things. You talked about the downside. So what have you done differently?
Yeah, so our products, number one, are built with LEDs. So
Uh-huh.
there's no thermal effect. There's never going to overheat or anything like that. You don't actually want to overheat soft tissue injuries or cancerous tumors. So this is a very low level light that provides to the body. So LEDs, so they're safe and effective. You can look at them, you can stare at them. You don't have to have any safety goggles. You can't cause any type of overdosage or harm. The cell basically can only fill up with so much light at one time. It needs to integrate it into the body, and then you're ready for another session. And so all of ours are programmed for 15 minutes, turns off on its own. We also programmed our blankets to have a 2-to-1 ratio of near infrared to red. Now, a lot of products on the market are getting away with calling it red light therapy, and they're only giving you red light wavelength LEDs. And so you always want to make sure the wavelengths they're giving you, because if they're only giving you red does work, but it's a very small piece of the spectrum, and it only goes 5 to 10 millimeters into the tissue. So very surface level stuff. It's not going to help nerves or vertebrae or paralysis or go as deep as organs and bone marrow. The near infrared can penetrate up to 50 millimeters into the tissue, which can get to organs, bone marrow, nerves, vertebrae, things like that. So we have 2-to-1 near infrared to red, so you're getting more near infrared. And then we also put 5 wavelengths in our device. A lot of lasers and other red light therapy products only have 1 to 3 wavelengths. They all do work, but having 5 is way more similar to what the animal would be getting outside as far as multiple wavelengths at one time. So the body responds better to that, as well as we put the 810 nanometer into our product, which is a near infrared wavelength. And it's been proven in studies to actually cross deep enough through the skull. The skull is very thick. So that means we can work on cognitive issues, brain tumors, head trauma, but I'm guaranteed that that's going to get down to the bone marrow and the nerve through the spine. So we've helped paralysis, IBDD, gut issues. And speaking of gut, we also patented our design. It's a full body design for that supplement for the whole body as a systemic effect. Lasers are only an isolated place. But we also patented a belly band into our design. So no therapeutic blankets on the market have a belly band. They forgot about the ventral line of the animal. So we have musculature there, we have organs, and we have the gut microbiome. I'm sure most of us, as you know and your followers know, the gut is very important to our health. It's the second brain, right? And not just the microbiome there to digest and absorb nutrients, but our immune system is made there. Our sexual hormones are made there for vitality and longevity, and our feel good hormones. So, like tryptophan, dopamine, serotonin. So, if you think of animals that are anxious or aggressive or behavioral issues, there could be something going on in the gut. And we can now directly innervate with that. Because remember, I said earlier, every cell has a melanopsin. So, every gut cell has a light sensor. When's the last time you put your belly in the sun? When's the last time your pet has their belly in the sun? My dogs go out and they lay and literally lay with their belly up to the sun for 30 minutes when we have sunshine here. They know. Like, we don't have to tell the animals how to be healthy, right? Like, they know. We make it very complicated as humans. Our device is wireless, so it's very convenient, hands-free, but that also takes away any risks of having non-native EMFs. So Wi-Fi, modems, smart devices, and anything plugged into a wall will create a non-native EMF, which is a non-native electromagnetic field. We have the Schumann resonance, which is a natural magnetic field that's healing. Anything plugged into a wall is usually higher and can be inflammatory. So you want to make sure any product you're buying that plugs into the wall, that the company is talking about non-native EMFs and what their rating is. So yeah, that's basically kind of what our products are. I have a little model on a blanket here if you want it on screen. I don't remember if you guys have people that watch or just listen, but
Yeah.
yeah, we have dog blankets, we have a cat pad, we have horse leg wraps and bell boots, and we just released our big, huge horse blanket that also has a belly band. And then I will be coming out with a human blanket in about 30 to 60 days.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, and everything you've been talking about, that my head has gone towards cats because I can get outside. I can make sure my dog is getting outside. I do let my cat outside supervised sometimes, but a lot of people don't have that. Like, I have a backyard that I can do that in. If you're living in a condo or a high rise or an apartment or a townhouse, like, you may not have the ability to do that with your cat, and so I'm thinking about them, because even I honestly have no idea. I'm like, this is just off the top of my head. I know that in vehicles, there are UV blockers in the windows, in the glass. I'm like, I don't know, maybe there are in our windows in our house too. I have no idea. So we're getting some UV rays and not others. And that's a whole thing of where they were trying to get us to believe that we needed sunscreen, which
Yeah.
that's a whole other tangent. But I'm like, what do we do with our cats?
Yeah. It's hard with the cats, right? And I mean, if you think about wild cats out in the
Yeah.
wild, they have renal disease, they don't have metabolic issues, they're not obese, they don't have arthritis.
Mm.
And so, yeah, with the cats, it's hard. Now, to answer your question on the windows, all of our modern windows, just like modern light bulbs, they do not let red and near infrared light through because it's more green, right? Like the infrared would let heat through. So, to try to protect the
Mm.
insulation in your house. So, the only thing that gets through is blue. So, we are just very blue light toxic human animals and pets because of our tech screens, the light bulbs, and what comes through the windows. Now, if you live in an old house that has old windows or maybe single pane windows, you're probably getting some good red and near infrared. So yeah, for cats, this is a really great supplement. We've seen great success with cats that have renal issues, urinary tract issues, just by getting them on the mat. And you can put that on a windowsill in their bed and their pet carrier, and they really usually like go straight for it. I mean, the animals kind of know what they're wanting. Um,
Mhm.
it's a great
Yeah.
supplement for cats.
I love that. I love it. I am so appreciative of you coming on and talking about this. I was going through um, just some of the stuff on your website talking about how it helps whole body circulation. You've talked a lot about injury recovery, muscle relaxation. One thing that I was just talking to somebody about, I did a video, report review for somebody this morning who did one of my bioenergetic testing kits, and, um, this poor dog, I'm just looking at everything and I'm like, so many organ systems are stressed, but overall, I'm looking at this, like in Chinese medicine, I'm looking at this animal who is stuck. And I'm like, we need to get their lymphatic system moving.
Yes.
And it's something that I I don't hear a lot about. So I don't know. I'm sure there are some people out there talking about it, but probably more for humans than animals. But uh, I'm wondering, like, if this is getting circulation going, if this is also gonna help our lymphatic system. Because 'cause I'm over here with a freaking, what do they call them now? The vibration planes.
I love those. I love those so much. You're on the full biohacking train. It's okay. I like it. I love those. I have an old style rebounder as well that I jump up
Mm,
and down on for lymph. And you're right.
yeah,
And actually, on the human side, lymph is not mentioned as much as it should. In the naturopathic side, there's definitely a lot more of it now. But regular doctors, like, I
yeah,
don't like, it's in our body, it's all over our body, and, like, it's rarely mentioned until you have cancer, and it goes, "Oh, it reached into your lymph system. Oh, well, could we keep that clean beforehand?" You know? And so, sunlight will already activate that, and UV will activate that, and obviously movement, any type of jumping, rebounding. But red light therapy, and especially getting it as a full blanket like this, as a full body, it's gonna activate that lymphatic drainage as well. And we just have to be careful to not be overburdening the body
mm,
with, more supplements or medications, because all that's doing is overburdening the liver and kidney. And we don't know what they need or don't need, or if it's working, or how long to stay on it. And so the light
yeah.
will definitely help get that going.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate it so much. I actually would love to have you come back and talk about quantum biology if my listeners are okay with it, because I'm all into this. One of the things that I said for 2025, I wanted to bring more human perspective into the podcast, because we can't care for our pets if we're not caring for ourselves.
Yes.
Um, this year was a little bit more about trying to reach new people. I feel like in the healthy pet space, that's just what I call it, the like 2.0 pet parents. I feel like we've kind of gotten into like this little echo chamber, and I want to get out of that echo chamber.
Yeah.
Um, but we need to, in my opinion, like, I think the word holistic has kind of been, for a lack of a better word, bastardized a little bit, because we have been indoctrinated for so long into a pharmaceutical mindset for, this is a symptom, this is what I take for the symptom, and it's really hard to get people out of that thought process. They come to the holistic space and they're like, "Okay, what herb can I take for this symptom?" And it's like, that's not how this works, right?
You
We
are.
have this, like, there's a whole world of things that we're missing,
Yes.
that we're not addressing. So I love that you're bringing light into this, because I think it's fundamental. It's one of those things that said at the very beginning, we just kind of overlook it and take it for granted. But I mean, without sunlight, without clean air, without clean water, we've got nothing,
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing at all. So,
No, you're spot on to that. I love the word holistic because it is true. Like, you're
yeah.
looking at the whole body, because it is
Mhm.
all connected. In our allopathic system, they see it as systems, even though the
Yeah,
systems are all connected. But it was
yeah.
because they called us alternative initially, and alternative made
Mhm.
us sound, woo woo, or like not good enough. So we had to come up with a better term, which is where holistic came from. The funny thing is, the allopathic system is the alternative system. That was not what was around before. It was herbs and plants and sunlight and water and medicine that already grows in nature. And nature's perfect. She makes no mistakes, right? So they're actually, I always like to stand on that hill and say they're the alternative ones, actually. And sometimes regular medicine is needed. So I'm not here to like knock that all the way, but we were never supposed to be on it for our life. All these different side effects that it happens. Another great benefit that red light therapy has is actually natural pain relief, and it's
Mm,
outperforming NSAIDs. So if you think of our, bute that we give horses and agricultural animals, or like our ibuprofen and NSAIDs, anti-inflammatories that we give our pets, they cause a lot of stomach upset. So if you could just use red light therapy instead for pain relief and affecting the gut with like a belly band, then you're actually going to be doing a lot better than having all the side effects from the drug.
I love it. I love it. I think there's so much to learn there and so much that we can learn for ourselves, so many things that we can apply to our pets. So I'm just so appreciative of you, Jackie, for coming on and talking to us a little bit about this. Where can people find your products specifically?
Yeah, thanks. So they can come straight to our website, animasol.com. So she's like, I want to come get some too. Animasol.com. You can come straight to our website. All of our products are on there. We have an email on there for contact, which comes directly to me. So if you have any questions about your pet, any issues they're having, any protocols, you can come right to me. We did actually just bring on to staff Dr. Ron Riegel. He is like the photobiomodulation DBM that's been around since the 70s. So he's helped produce lasers. He's traveled the world teaching about light. And so he is now standing behind our product because he's like, for years, Jackie, I've been trying to tell these companies we need to illuminate the animals more and more frequently. So we also have him on staff to help with, protocols and educational things for professionals. And so you can reach out anytime. We also have our social media pages. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We just got onto TikTok. That one took a while. That app is chaotic. And so you can find us on there. We are going to start teaching very soon about quantum biology and light water magnetism. So just come follow us and reach out with any questions.
I love it. My dogs are over it. This is my third hour of recording today, and they're like,
Mom, come on, let's go outside. That's what
yes, 100%. They're done. I'm like, in between calls, I'm like, wait, let's get outside real quick, and then trying to like get them back in real quick. So yeah, they're going a little, they were going a little crazy. So I apologize about that. But
No worries.
yeah, I just appreciate it so much. Thank you again, Jackie, for being here. And guys, thank you for being here and listening. I want to hear more of your questions about red light therapy and about, like I hate the word. I don't know why I hate the word biohacking.
I don't like
I
it
think just
either. I don't like
I think it just has such a negative connotation because of the like, I don't know, muscle bound guys that are like, "Oh, I'm gonna live forever on Insta." I don't
it.
know,
It's
but
it's companies making devices that they want you dependent on, and they are charging you exuberant amounts of money to do so. And I just have morals against that. I'm like, let's not do that.
I know, I get it. I so get it. Anyway, yes, talking more about that, but there's so many things we can do for ourselves. There's so many things we can do for our pets. So,
Yes.
reach out to me, ask me all the questions, especially if you have somebody else that you would love for me to have come on the podcast. And with that, I'm gonna say, have a great week. Please give your pet some extra love from me and from Jackie this week, and I will talk to you again
Yes.
next week.
Thank you, everybody. Get your pets outside.